This podcast is sponsored by The Generational Algorithm by Francisco Castillo. Discover how to rewrite the emotional code passed down through generations and transform your life. Get your copy today on Amazon at the link in the description.
Epigenetic editing and its promise to reverse generational trauma. Discover how epigenetic editing could help heal inherited trauma, offering hope for overcoming intergenerational and ancestral trauma biologically. How epigenetic editing might help heal generations of trauma. Hey, have you ever thought about how trauma doesn't just affect the person who experiences it, but can actually pass down through families? I'm talking about things like intergenerational trauma, ancestral trauma, or family trauma. It's pretty wild, right? This idea that the stress or hardship one generation faces can influence the biology and mental health of the next. Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. There's a field called epigenetics that started to uncover how these effects happen. And even more exciting, scientists are working on ways to potentially reverse these inherited marks. Yes, reverse the damage of transgenerational trauma or multigenerational trauma through something called epigenetic editing. So what exactly is epigenetics? Imagine your DNA as a huge instruction manual, the code that tells your cells how to function. Epigenetics is like a system of sticky notes that attach to certain parts of this manual, telling your body which genes to turn on or off. Here's the kicker. These sticky notes can be influenced by your environment, stress, diet, even your experiences. And when it comes to trauma, scientists believe certain experiences can leave epigenetic marks that get passed down to children and grandchildren. This isn't just theory. Research has shown that levels of stress hormones, behaviors related to anxiety or trauma, and some health issues can be influenced by ancestors' experiences. Now, here's where the future looks promising. Epigenetic editing is a cutting-edge technique where scientists are beginning to rewrite or remove those harmful sticky notes that came from trauma. Unlike traditional gene editing, which changes the actual sequence of DNA, epigenetic editing targets those chemical marks, potentially switching off negative effects without altering the underlying genetic code. This means that inherited trauma, that invisible burden from your ancestors or family history, might be something we can heal biologically. Imagine someone whose family has suffered through war, poverty, or systemic oppression for generations. This person might carry biological reminders that make them more sensitive to stress, even if they never experienced those original traumas themselves. If epigenetic editing evolves successfully, it could give them a chance to reset their biological programming, improving mental health and resilience for future generations. It's like repairing an emotional and biological legacy. Of course, this is still an emerging area of science, and there are tons of ethical questions to consider. For example, who gets access to such treatments? How do we make sure it's used responsibly? And importantly, epigenetic editing isn't meant to replace therapy, community support, or the healing power of storytelling and connection, but it could be a revolutionary tool to complement these approaches. If you're curious to learn more about the science behind this, and how we might rewrite emotional histories with new technologies, there's a fascinating book called The Generational Algorithm. It digs into the ways we inherit trauma and how emerging science could help us heal it across generations. If this sparks your interest, you might want to check it out. Buy now on Amazon for a detailed and accessible look into the future of emotional and biological healing. So, bottom line? Epigenetic editing might be one of the most exciting frontiers in helping people overcome not only their own challenges, but the invisible legacies passed down through family lines. Healing trauma may no longer just be a psychological journey, but could become part of biological restoration. Pretty incredible stuff, right?